Taking over. I am Ol'Ed and Fries, and I am joined by my tag team partner, the one and only, the natural, Astrid Pizarro. Astrid, how you doing?
Doing a lot better today. How are you?
I'm doing good. Doing good. It's been a good day. We don't have Lacey Evans in the WWE no more. It's a fantastic day.
It's a victory.
Trump got indicted on racketeering charges. Oh, it's been a great day for Ed. Ed's been happy all day.
I guess
got myself a temporary new chair number 3 of the week. It's been a week, but we're here. But we're not here to talk about Lacey Evans leaving WWE. No, we'll leave that for the other shows to talk about. Not that any of our other shows are going to talk about it anyways, because nobody cares. We're here to talk about NXT on the road to Heatwave. Yes. You excited for Heatwave next week?
Yeah, I feel like they have a good card at least. I'm trying to remember everything, but I don't have a good memory though.
We got Von Wagner versus Baron Corbin.
Yeah.
We've got Carmelo Hayes versus Wes Lee.
The Heritage Cup.
Heritage Cup match. Dragon Lee and Lyra versus Rhea and Dominic.
Oh, I just noticed it's an NXT Women's Championship match, right?
Tiffany will be back next week. She'll be gracing us with her presence at
So technically, the only women's match is the mixed tag, right? It seems like
currently on the schedule. Currently on the 2-hour show, it is currently only the mixed tag. I do, however, think we're going to get Kalani versus Dana Brooke.
Yeah, probably
because that seems like a foregone conclusion after the way the match ended this week. Jumping right in.
Yes.
I'm just sitting here getting all her social media going and everything else.
Hey, I'm trying to get people in here. Hold on.
No holding on. The NXT show holds on for nobody. The Dyad versus the D'Angelo family. Good match. Nothing spectacular. Nothing fancy. Still surprised to see the Dyad doing good things and almost winning matches with less than 2 months left before they go out of the company. And they're still on my TV screen.
Yeah.
We got In the Hot Seat podcast joining us. Hello, Daphne. Thank you. But yeah, no. I thought it was a good match. I thought it was an all right match overall. I thought the Dyad was going to lose. I thought we were going to get more into this Joe Gacy and the Dyad thing. That's not the route we took. We took the Creed route, which is a bit more boring, but it makes sense. Ivy Nile comes out to distract Joe Gacy and Ava Raine. All the other nameless, faceless PC recruits go up to the front of the line. By the way, did you notice the one that didn't fit the rest? The guy that was like 7 foot tall in the mask.
I think so. Yeah.
There's one guy. They're doing the entrance. I'm like, okay, holy shit, dude, the size of that bastard. Like, Jesus, bro, the dude was massive. One of these things is not like the other. One of these things just doesn't belong. What do you think of this match?
I feel like it was a good opener. Like the only thing I felt was like nothing happened. I don't want to say it like out of the ordinary, but like something like for me to highlight during the match. It was more than anything the storytelling within the match. Is like having the Dijak getting distracted, Tony Stacks still winning. I like how if Ivy come in there and the followers just go and target her, but even then we still have the masked Brutus and Julius are just helping Tony Stacks at the end. So it's like you still get that storyline in there. I just wonder what's gonna be the excuse for them to bring back Brutus and Julius. Just like we're just gonna forget about what happened, or what is it gonna be the excuse for them to come over again? Because obviously they're still there.
We're gonna have Brutus and Julius can get their jobs back, but at the same time, we're gonna go ahead and sacrifice the Dyad, and the Dyad's gonna lose, and that's how we write them off TV, because we should have written them off 3 weeks ago when we should have, because it made a whole lot more sense.
Yeah.
Like what? What was the point of this other than get Julius and Brutus 3 weeks off? Like, what's the point?
And off because it obviously that we had one of the weeks that they recorded the video that they showed us on screen, so they had to record that, and they're still on the mask as this is happening, but like off screen basically. Just it's
But
funny.
they could have recorded that off screen thing any day of the week at the PC. Like you could have walked into the PC, done that. Like the only time they had to be here was tonight. Was the first time they had to be here since they lost their match. So, I mean, was it uber exciting? No. Was it bad? No. It was just fine.
Yeah.
Just broadly fine. We then get something good. We get Eddie Thorpe talking more about his Pokahe, talking more about his Bruja, about his fighting spirit. We learn more about the fighting spirit and how he brings in that fighting spirit through dance, which is true. I'm not much on my Native American history, but I do know that the spirits come through dance. That's why they have a rain dance. That's why they have other forms of dance to bring in energy and bring in spirits. Mm-hmm. So the Native American, it brought me back. I know it's a little early for you. You might not know who this person is. The Native American Tatanka. Tatanka was a great... It's early 90s, Astrid. You weren't watching.
No, he was there for like the early 2000s for a bit there. So I saw him. I don't know when he was on SmackDown.
He came back for a cup of coffee in the 2000s, and you didn't
I still saw him.
Yes, but you didn't. You saw the revamped Tatanka when he wasn't in the blue and garb, where he wasn't literally the Native American. Like, he looked like... You know how Mickie James sometimes puts on her warrior garb for some of her big matches? He wore that every week. Mm-hmm. Every week on TV, that man was in that warrior garb. But he would do like Hulk Hogan when Hulk would Hulk up. Tatanka would do the same thing, where he would fire up and he would dance around the ring. The same way Eddie kind of comes to the ring. He would have that hop, skip, dance to bring the energy, to earn the crowd's energy and to give it back to them. And it would help him Hulk up, and people would hit him and he'd just keep dancing. And he would go on the warpath. And I like that. I like bringing in these little bits. They're not using the same terminology, because obviously we live in a different time now. A lot of the things that we said about Tatanka, we can't say in the 2023s that we said in 1993. But they're bringing in the same Native American spirituality and doing it in a much more traditional way. They're doing it in a much more accessible way.
Yeah.
So they're letting him be who he wants to, what this character wants to be. And finally, we're getting more about the character. We're finding out more about Eddie Thorpe. So hopefully
Finally.
Mark will be happy that he can just enjoy Eddie Thorpe being a great wrestler now that we kind of understand the Native American pieces to it. But I like this. What did you think? Was there anything I left out of here?
Yeah, there's two things to this. First, I like that because we finally get the connection of why he dances so much. That's another thing that I always wondered, that and the DJ part. So I like that it answers a question that we had about his character. And like we said, we've been trying to get to know his character. So I like this vignettes having to show us little bits and pieces of him. So I like seeing that. I like it when he says that dance is the medicine and, he has to do is to connect with the crowd. I love that. And it just, again, reminded me as well of how it is with like in Puerto Rico, they give you this history with Native Americans and the Tainos that we had there and like their traditions and things like that. So I like a lot of the dances and like typical music that we get, they're derived from that. So I like seeing this because it just reminds me of like basically from our history, the way they teach us in school and it's like the backstory of how before we were colonized and the colonized and everything. So those traditions going back to, I definitely love seeing this though. Just reminds you of that.
We colonized Puerto Rico. When did we do that? We didn't do that. We never did that.
No,
I promise.
nobody
I
did.
swear. Moving on to non-colonizing topics, we have Wes Lee. We have Wes Lee barreling into Carmelo Hayes' signing where he's going ahead and signing some autograph stuff. I'm going to be watching the WWE auction shop to see where those things go online. I wouldn't mind a signed Carmelo Hayes picture. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't mind that to start. Now that I have the new setup, there's a wall back here where my head is when I sleep. But I wouldn't mind having some stuff on that wall. There's a big blue patch right there where that signed picture would go real nice.
Hey, that's true.
I was trying out different paints and I didn't like that paint, and so I had to get a darker color. I'm lazy. Anyways, Wes Lee comes barreling in. He's still disrespecting Carmelo Hayes. Like, Carmelo has nothing to do with all of Wes Lee's troubles and bullshit. Nothing. But Wes Lee determines that Carmelo Hayes is the only person that has to listen to him and all his bullshit. He's like, I'm going to win, and then you're going to be signing that contract. And Melo's like, fine. Focus on winning the match. Then come talk to the champ. I'm like, all right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I like this Wes Lee. I like the attitude. I don't understand why Melo's the target. Like, he could have picked anybody, and somehow he picks Melo. But I like that because I think this match is going to be fantastic, and I really wish we weren't throwing it away on a random Tuesday night special. Yeah. I really feel like this would be the main event for, and probably will be the main event again for No Mercy.
I hope so. Yeah.
Any more thoughts on Carmelo Hayes and Wes Lee from this portion?
No, I like the attitude. It ties back to what he says later, so I'll hold off a little bit on that end of it. But like the way he shows his frustrations, even if it's to Carmelo, he's just thinking, let me take it out on the person that's at the top of the food chain right now, basically. But I like that frustration coming from him and how he expresses it later on as well.
Absolutely. And we also got Parrish and Chris Best, both wonderful, wonderful people from our local establishment. If you haven't caught it, go ahead and go back and watch Chris Best and Carl Carafel on Turnbuckle Talk. Right after this ends, you can go ahead and catch it on our local establishment. You can catch it on Turnbuckle Studios, all kinds of fantastic places. Go watch that thing. Yeah, we mentioned in the beginning of the show that she's quietly, thankfully, left the WWE and nobody has to hear from her anymore. It's all good. She's gone. Speaking of people being gone, Dana Brooke and Blair Davenport. Astrid, I didn't think it was possible for a professional wrestler who's gotten 8 years experience or more to have a worse match than a girl who's just starting out. But she managed it. Dana Brooke always going well below even my low standards for Dana Brooke, and having a worse match with Blair Davenport than Kalani had last week. Where's the lie?
I feel bad because I'm mad for this Dana Brooke slander at the same time. I feel about it, but I don't know how to describe this match. I really don't.
I will praise Dana Brooke when she does things great. If that day ever comes, I will praise her for all the good things that she does. But she's 8 years in this business. She has to be able to, and I guess 8 years because it feels like that's how long since Asuka's been here, and she was Asuka's debut opponent.
Yeah.
So like when people talk about like, I always talk about Aaliyah's been here since Breaking Ground, and she still can't get a foothold in this company. And she's talking about bringing signs to SmackDown in Toronto, as opposed to talking about how do I get on the card in Toronto, which I think is funny. But
That's funny too.
but like she's like, I want to know what kind of signs to bring. How about one that says "Sign me to a match, put me in the ring, something to get you on television." But no, like,
I feel bad at the same time. I don't even know how to describe the match, to be honest. It was more than anything. The interesting part was the ending because she's getting frustrated, and the thing I didn't like about this was because if the match had been longer, I would understand why she was frustrated that she couldn't get like the win over Blair. But the match wasn't even that long to begin with. So the timing, I didn't help me in that aspect. If you think about it like a timeline, but when she grows the frustration, goes outside of the ring, grabs, she's like trying to grab anything. She doesn't at first it doesn't look like she has a plan. And so she finds the bell, takes the bell, goes to use it, and Kalani stops. She's like, "What are you doing? Like, what are you thinking? Like, basically, it's not what you taught me." And grabs it from her. Dana's mad. This strikes her enough that Blair does her knee strike, and then she loses. But even after that, when Blair leaves the ring, Kalani's trying to console Dana, and Dana's just looking over her shoulder, giving her the dirtiest look, and Kalani doesn't even notice. So I thought the heel turn was gonna happen right there and then to set it up for Heatwave. So I was expecting it. I just waiting at the edge of my seat for it to happen, and I'm waiting for Kalani to really sell this for me, and then they just change over to something else. I was like, but there's something missing here. What happened?
we're going to get an NXT Anonymous next week that sets up the match for them next week. Because, like Astrid said in the pre-show that we were talking, there's only one women's match, and it's a mixed tag. Yeah. Which, by the way, considering the storylines they have for the women, it seems weird.
Yep.
Like, you still have Lash and Jakara, and you have Lola and Elektra, and you have Valentina and
Lisa.
Like, you have all 6 of them that you could throw into a 6-woman tag. That would make a whole lot of sense because they're all kind of feuding with each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have Dana and Kalani. You could bring Roxanne back for a match if you wanted to. You could put Blair Davenport in a match that actually matters as opposed to giving her Kalani and Dana Brooke to work with, and give her something nice as a reward for all her hard work to try to put these 2 over.
If you think about it, it's funny that Rhea doesn't have anybody in the main roster, but she has a few with Lyra over here.
They're doing a better job on NXT booking Rhea Ripley than they are on the main roster. Which is funny.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's still... This is one of the things that bugs me. Women want equality, WWE, that whole thing. People forget WWE is NXT. Like, NXT is part of WWE, and they get plenty of time. Like, we'll talk about it here. There are multiple segments on this show. We have Ava and Ivy in the first segment with the match. I mean, it's not built around them, but they're key portions of this Dyad versus Schism versus Creed's feud. They are integral parts of that feud.
Yeah.
We get Kalani, Dana, and Blair here. Later on, we're going to get...
you have Thea later.
Yeah, we have Thea later. We have Tiffany talked about later. So we have a couple things going on here. But again, Chris Parrish and Daphne are right. I would love to see an Evolution 2. Mm-hmm. The problem with Evolution 2 right now is they haven't given us enough storylines that without bringing back legends for legends' sake, they don't have enough stuff to fill the card unless NXT is going to carry that heavy load.
I think it would be good to do it just to get people that don't watch NXT a little bit of a preview of what NXT is like, and having like at least 2 to 3 NXT matches on the card. I think it wouldn't be a bad idea.
I agree. I don't think it'd be a bad idea. I'm all for an Evolution 2. I would just hope that they would build to it, as opposed to just being like, oh, we're in trouble. The women, they want more women. Evolution. Like, that's not the catch-all answer for, oh, women don't have enough, let's give them evolution. Because we all, for as much as we all liked Evolution 1, let's not forget, Evolution 1 was not done because WWE felt like the women deserved their own show. It was done because Saudi wouldn't let the women participate, and WWE wanted to give their women a payday to stop bad press.
It was a consolation prize at this point. But.
It was. Here's an idea: have NXT do an all-female show. If you did it as a 1 hour show, I'm in. If you tried to fill 2 hours with the NXT talent, I'm out. The NXT girls aren't good enough to fill a 2 hour show by themselves. I'm sorry. There's Astrid. We're talking about Dana Brooke and Kalani Jordan having rough matches with Blair Davenport. Do you want to see something like this when you're showcasing your women on a big stage like that?
No, that's why I think Evolution would be a good way to do a combination. Do Legends, main roster, NXT, the way you did it before too. And like I said, have at least 2 NXT matches, maybe the NXT Women's Championship and 1 non-title match, something like that. And, you know, some kind of legend coming back. I feel like it's something that they could do. And like, you know, Daphne has the right idea. I was thinking about this and I wrote that on the article as well. Because I kept thinking of Mae Young Classic and introduced me to so many female stars that I see right now that I feel like it will be good because there's so many women on the indie circuit right now that could use this opportunity. And I feel like the Mae Young Classic would be like a good platform to bring them in. So it's something that I would like to see. I went to one of the tapings when it was here. It was when Tegan got injured. So whichever year it was, I don't remember at this point. But
I was going to say, which one? The one that was against Rhea Ripley or the one against the other lady?
Against Rhea, yeah.
What was it? It was
2018,
Shayna?
I think it was.
It was Shayna and Rhea, right? Are the 2 years that she got? Or is it Io?
I know Rhea was one of them, but it just I went to the taping itself for 2 nights and it was amazing to see so many people there, the support that women were getting for each one of the matches, and introduced me to so many people. And it wasn't just in the US, it was from around the world, and I really like that. And I really miss something like that. I wish we had something like that right now.
Yeah, it'd be great. Moving off the women want equality, because we'll probably get back to that a little bit later when we talk about Tiffany. We get Trick Williams versus Drew Gulak. But first, we have Dijak deciding to be Wes Lee as well and putting his hand all over that wonderful print of Carmelo Hayes that he was signing and being like, I'm going to take you on. And Melo's like, the two of you, focus on each other and win the match first. Then come talk to me.
Yep. Come on, people.
Come on. Just win the match first. Become the number 1 contender, then confront the champion. And the best part, Melo's not like, I'm not trying to dodge any of you. I'm not trying to ignore any of you. I just want you to be the contender, and then we'll have a conversation. Then we get Trick Williams versus Drew Gulak. What'd you think of this one?
I feel like I didn't know what to think. Like, it was, I feel like a good showcasing for Trick, but it was such a short match. I feel like I blinked and I almost missed it. And it felt that quick. I know they're just trying to give him a way to like showcase him and kind of like warm him up, you know, to be by himself. But it was too short for me, at least. I don't know.
Yeah. I like matches with Drew Gulak being short. I like the idea that people don't have to work too hard to beat Drew Gulak. I like the fact that the crowd's invested in Trick by himself.
Yeah.
The crowd, while the crowd was damn near silent during Blair Davenport versus Dana Brooke, they were very loud for Trick Williams here in this match. They were starting when he was coming out to the ring. They were whoop that Trick's chants. Throughout the match, they were back and forth. There was noise being made. It didn't feel like people were just sitting on their hands like they were during the women's match. And again, I'm not trashing the women's match. I think Blair Davenport has all the talent in the world, and I feel bad that this is what she's resulting in. Because she just had this great feud with Roxanne Perez and that great match with Roxanne.
Just went.
And then her reward is Dana Brooke and Kalani Jordan. Like, if she were in there with, you know, if you get Nikita back and she's in there with Nikita. Now, granted, Nikita needs work, and I don't know how much ring rust she's going to have. But something like that at least makes sense. Put her in the ring with Tiffany. even if Tiffany finds a way to sneak out of it, like, let Tiffany be the heel. Let her get out of that. Put her in the ring with hell, bring Isla Dawn and Alba Fire back down, because Lord knows they ain't doing anything on SmackDown right now. We had a KC Squared sighting for once on Raw.
Surprisingly.
Paris says Blair Davenport needs maybe an Italian or an even, like, that'd be fine. Like, I'm just saying she needs somebody better than Dana Brooke and Kalani Jordan. Like, she deserves a reward after the good work she's done, not to be seemingly punished. I know it's been a while, but the whole Retribution angle killed Dijak. Dude, the best part is anytime anybody mentions Retribution, the word Retribution on WWE TV, Dijak finds out about it and tweets about it, and it is hysterical. Dijak is fantastic. Yes, Dana Brooke equals punishment. Having to work with Dana Brooke is punishment. Thank you, Rob, for joining in. Yeah, it's a basically quick match. Gulak gets the loss after JBBJ come out to help even the odds, because Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and the Oompa Loompa Damon Kemp try to get involved. And by the way, what did you think of Damon Kemp's shirt? NXT champion purse holder, Trick Williams.
No, we're canceling that.
In a way, Isla Dawn and Alba Fire should still be the world tag.
I
would think. Don't look at me. I'm not the one who called him an Oompa Loompa. That would be Trick Williams. Go ahead on Twitter and go at Trick Willie and tell him that he's not an Oompa Loompa because he's not orange. Don't look at me. We then get Corbin heading to the ring, and this is my favorite part of the entire Baron Corbin stuff.
No.
The lady backstage, who, by the way, I don't recognize. I didn't recognize.
I thought it was Morgan.
Oh, is that Morgan? I was saying it wasn't Mackenzie and it wasn't Kelly Kincaid. So, like, who the hell is this third NXT lady announcer? We have two. We don't need a third.
Yeah, I think it's Morgan.
She comes out and she's like, Baron, you're heading to the ring. Do you want to tell us about it? He's like, do you want to know what I want to say? Yeah, good. Walks away. Oh my God, I got way too much of a laugh on that one.
Yeah, me too.
How many times we have people heading to the ring? Tell us what you're going to talk about. No, I'm going to the ring to talk. I'll just tell you when I get out there. Yeah. Give me through the commercial break and I'll tell you. Baron is on another level right now. He is so good. I don't give an F Baron Corbin. He does not give any fucks right now about what he does, and he's just out there to do his thing. And to talk about that. Oh, by the way, as we come back from break, we get Dabba-Kato returning soon. Great, cool. Moving on. Corbin comes out to the ring. He gives no ships. But we get Corbin saying, I ran off an Olympic gold medalist, and he's never going to show his face around here. I'm like, yay!
I love it. Yes.
All over. Baron Corbin's already done everything he needs to do. Corbin is now officially a Hall of Famer. By the way, Baron Corbin is the only WWE superstar to run off 2 Olympic gold medalists. Because the last time Kurt Angle had a match in WWE as well was against Baron Corbin. As we know, his retirement match. When Kurt Angle didn't necessarily choose Baron Corbin was chosen for Kurt. Yeah. It's true. It's damn true. He says that everybody else back there is soft and weak. And all of a sudden, a couple more adjectives come out. He talks a little bit more about his burning ships and what all that means. And none of that really mattered. But you know what does? Oh, what does matter? Aww. My friend Rob going ahead and subscribing to me for 1 more month. Thank you, Rob. I greatly appreciate your Bezos bucks. I appreciate it. Thank you for using your Prime sub. Corbin comes out, and Von Wagner comes out to confront Baron Corbin as he's going on and on. Well, Vaughn comes out with Robert Stone, who does most of the talking. And Stone does a really good job of making fun of Baron Corbin. And Corbin and Stone have this great back and forth where he's like, you know, you're doing a great Happy Corbin impression. I mean, you could have, gone ahead and just, gone ahead and ironed your suit. You could have done stuff like that. But, it's good. And he's like, oh, haha, funny.
He called him the knockoff Happy Corbin, too.
He did. And then he's like, wait, why am I talking to you? Does he talk? Give him the mic. Let him talk. And then Vaughn takes the mic reluctantly, and Baron Corbin's like, no, bad idea. Let's not do that. By the way, thinking of not bad ideas, Chris Parrish subscribing to my Twitch channel. I greatly appreciate it, Parrish. Thank you very much. But no, Baron Corbin playing off that it's a bad idea was fantastic. These two had really good in-ring chemistry for this too, because Vaughn then starts talking and he gets on a roll. He's like, look, you called me soft, whatever, no big deal. It's something I've heard before. It is what it is. He's like, but you can come out here and next week I'll take on whatever one of your shitty 10 gimmicks that you want to bring out. Bring out Happy Corbin, bring out Sad Corbin, bring out Bum-Ass Corbin, bring out this Corbin. I don't remember the other 8 shitty gimmicks. Just bring out whichever one you want. I'm just like, oh, Von Wagner is making me happy. I don't understand. What world is this where Von Wagner is on the microphone and doing good, holding his own with Baron Corbin, who mentions here that he was on the first promo of SmackDown Live when it debuted on Fox in front of 4 million people. And people forget, that debut episode did massive numbers. And that promo was The Rock, Becky Lynch, and Baron Corbin. Mm-hmm. And he held his own toe-to-toe with The Rock. Now, granted, the whole segment was designed to make him look like a fool, and it worked perfectly. But Baron Corbin did exactly what he needed to do in that segment, just like he did here, to make Von Wagner feel important. I know you're a big Baron Corbin fan. What do you have to think about this?
Yeah, I don't even know what to call this character, gimmick, whatever it is, but he's killing it. I loved it. I loved that part first with Morgan backstage, and now with Vaughn is like, you're the knockoff Happy Corbin, and he's like, oh, you should have ironed your suit, like you didn't do that. And then when he's talking about Vaughn, he's like, does he talk on the stick or what? He's like, you got to learn to do this kind of thing. And it just reminded me of the Roman Cena interaction as well on that part of it. And then Vaughn going back and forth with him is like, I didn't think he was gonna do well. And he did better than I thought he would. And just at the end when he goes, you and the other 8 gimmicks because they sucked, and I was like, oh my God. I can't believe he said that. But they had a good back and forth. They're just like, this is gonna be fun for sure.
Yeah, it's a whole lot of fun. It's great. Bobby, thank you for joining us. I greatly appreciate it. We are having a great day. Thank you, Bobby. I want to thank you because we don't ever get to do this enough. Bobby, thank you for all of the work you do behind the scenes at Ol'Ed to get all of these shorts prepared. Well, most of the shorts prepared. Ashton does some of them, but a lot of the shorts are done by Bobby. Almost all the social media is done a lot by Bobby. So, Bobby, thank you for all the things that you do for us, especially this show to make us look good and to make sure that people know when and where we can find it. Because me and Astrid are terrible at remembering on Tuesday to tell people to come watch.
Sometimes.
Most days. That program was really good. I didn't think I'd see a face Vaughn. He's doing really well as a face. That whole making us feel bad for him as with the baby stuff and the head surgery and the weird picture. But it's done good to give him a character and a reason for us to care about him. And it still lets him be that aggressive, angry Von Wagner, but channeling it into a different mode, which makes fans understand him, which is all fans want to do, is to understand the talent they're working with. Mm-hmm. If we can't understand you, how can we feel your pain when you're getting beat down? How can we feel your pain when you're losing and we need to cheer for you to get you to win? It's not good enough to just hate the guy on the other side. CM Punk. It's not good enough to just hate the guy on the other side. You've got to, do more for yourself to get yourself over. Mm-hmm. I think Vaughn's done a really good job of that. Mm-hmm. Baron Corbin here had a great promo. I'm excited for this match next week.
Yeah, he's like, you're going to get tabled. And I was like...
Yeah, he still has that shitty catchphrase. He's even added to it. I've got you a table for one, a reservation for one, and you're going to get tabled. And I'm like, oh.
No.
Maybe I'll grow to like it. At least he didn't say your ass is going to get tabled this week. It's slightly better. But no, this is really good. I'm super excited for this.
Yeah.
And more of our adventures backstage in NXT, because that was half of our show this week, was anything but a match this week was really the show, which is fine. Every now and then you need to have that show, especially when you're building to a special show. like 2 weeks after you've had a big show, you kind of, whoa, you got to kind of do your best to build storylines out of thin air. So it makes sense. Rhea and Dom backstage. Rhea's pissed off that Lyra Valkyria didn't just take her endorsement. She went ahead and kicked her in the face. Again, doesn't seem to be the Rhea Ripley that we know, because the Rhea Ripley that we know would have liked the fact that Lyra Valkyria was stepping up to her. This Rhea Ripley's like, no, I don't want it. Boo. But it's going to be a match. Dominic doing his best to be a stupid guy that I just want to punch in the face. So good job, Dom. You did your job, because God, I never thought I could agree with Lyra Valkyria more. We'll talk about that later when we get to it. Her and Dragon Lee have one line, and I'm just like, yes, I completely agree with you all. But then we get to my segment of the night. No offense to the main event segment with Wes Lee and Carmelo Hayes. That shit was on fire. But Mustafa Ali out of like a UN assembly in an empty room with no lights and just enough spotlight to see him in this little banner behind him, where he talks about the North American title and how it deserves better, and how the last two champions have noticed the last two champions. He doesn't call out Carmelo Hayes here. He only calls out Wes Lee and Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah.
Talking about how they don't represent what's best for the championship. Talking about how Dominic is a convicted felon. How he doesn't appreciate family values. Just so many good things and so many great digs at Dom. He's like, I'm going to do this the right way. And he's got that evil smile. I'm just like, oh my God. This is the heel that thinks he's the good guy. You want to know who he reminds me of right now? Lex Luthor.
Interesting.
To compare it to a superhero thing. Because the great thing about Lex Luthor is he does everything for the greater good. He's always thinking that he's trying to stop Superman for everybody's best interest. Because his thing is not Superman is bad. His idea is, what if Superman turns bad? We're all in trouble if I don't save us. And Wesley kind of has that same thing. I need to save the North American Championship because it's in a disgraceful place around the waist of Dominic Mysterio and the way he wins. And it was just such a good promo. And it's that heel, the delusional heel who thinks he's right and he's not right, but he is right. Oh, I couldn't love this promo anymore. And the fact that he doesn't do it in front of a crowd, so nobody can ruin his flow, and he just gets to go, and if it takes 5 times to record it, just get it till it gets it right. By the way, another thing of this, Mustafa Ali cutting promos anywhere but the ring has just always been fire. His 205 Live promos where he's just like walking down the street with his cell phone, or when he's sitting on his steps in Chicago. He is such an energetic person, but he doesn't have to bring Tia Hale annoying energy. He just brings this desire and passion energy that is just such a good transition to the screen. Ashton, I'm sorry that I didn't give you a chance to really talk about this.
I mean, there's nothing else I can say. You said I'm gonna end up repeating what you said, but I loved it. And it reminded me of the little promo he had posted on Twitter like that before, and it never kicked off after that. And I was waiting for something like that to keep progressing, and it just feels like this was the progression for that promo. And I loved it. I love having the visuals too, because it's talking about Wes. He puts Wes on, and when they say convicted felon, you see a Dom getting arrested and the family values thing. So all that stuff. I like how he targets him in such a way that's like, I want to save that North American Championship from its current owner and, bring it over to me. And I love how he just says everything.
And he's got this great new banner with an MA at the bottom inside the eagle, Mustafa Ali, just fantastic. Chris Best saying, if you want to hear my thoughts on Punk, watch Turnbuckle Talk from tonight. I can't wait. It's always on my Wednesday mornings. It's what I listen to in the beginning of my Wednesday mornings every Wednesday. I always pick, only because Turnbuckle Talk airs right at the same time as NXT, and I can't watch both at the same time because I got to take notes. I mean, as shitty notes as I take, I have to take notes. Ashton, I'm going to let you go ahead and talk about some things here. Wes Lee versus Dominic Dijak.
It took me a moment. I was going to say Dominic. Uh, I like this match. Just like I like how it's first started with Dijak slowing this down. It's like not giving Wes that moment to like really turn up the speed on him. And I like how even towards the end, which is one of like my favorite part of it all, is like when Wes is about to do the kick and then his shoulder gives out, and then Dijak is about to do his book and his leg gives out. So I was like, okay, so everybody's giving out at this point. What's gonna happen now to end this? And even then he kind of does like a little choke slam. West still kicks out. I was like, okay, good, keep going because I really wanted West to win this. I'm like, I feel like I was good with either one, but West was my favorite out of both of them. Um, and then I like how we have that moment towards the fans there in the barricade. So we're thinking it's gonna be some kind of DQ, and it's gonna end like this, unfortunately. But then we have Dijak looking from the corner of his eye as he's going by the steel steps, and he sees Eddie of all people. And I like how Eddie, being Eddie, though, he doesn't interfere in the match. He's just staring at Dijak, and Dijak's about to swing, and he just ducks him. So he's like, I didn't even touch him. So it's like, there's no DQ here for sure. And then West takes that moment to really speed this up, and like he makes contact with the steel steps and brings him in the ring, does his thing, and then he wins. And I love how it took that little moment there for West to really take over, put his speed up, and like he usually does, and take that win. And yeah, I enjoyed the match a lot, especially like that ending sequence, just exactly how it should have been.
Yeah, it was great. I loved how it was completely different from the match at Vengeance Day because they've had a fantastic match before, and I was like, oh, like I want to see another one because I've always wanted to see another match between the two of them, but you always worry sometimes that it's just going to be more of the same. This felt completely different. They both worked a body part and they both made it happen. Like you said, that spot, it's one of the few spots I have written down in my notes. Both guys try to do their finish. Both guys' bodies give out.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Thorpe coming out and doing nothing but staring at Dijak and just looking at him. Just and Eddie has a reason to hit Dijak if he wants to. Dijak hit him during a match and cost him a match, but he just returns the favor by making Dijak lose all on Dijak's own. Just his own loss of concentration makes him lose. I have a feeling we'll see that again next week too. I think that'll be one of our other matches next week.
Yeah.
Can't say anything good things about this. Cardiac kick and a spinning senton for the 1-2-3. Just absolutely fantastic. Great match. Wes Lee is the number one contender. There was no bad result here. As long as one of the two of them actually won the match relatively clean, I didn't care who it was. Yeah. I wanted Wes to get dirty, to be perfectly honest with you. I would have really liked Wes Lee to have gotten a chair or something like that and done something a little dirty to get this win. But you can't get everything just yet. You gotta wait a little bit for that heel turn. But I thought it was fantastic. We then get Lyra Valkyria and Dragon Lee. And Astrid, I'm going to rely on you for some of the translations here because Dragon translated. And I don't know all my Spanish. My Duolingo hasn't gotten me to Dragon Lee era yet. But I don't think his translations of the things he said or what he said. But we have Dragon Lee and Lyra backstage. And most importantly, talk about Dom's stupid face. To which I can't agree more. He has such a punchable, stupid face. And it's the first time anybody on TV's ever mentioned it. Which I think is hysterical. Because I mention it every time I talk about him, about how punchable his stupid face is. Mm-hmm. And it's nice to know that it's part of the lingo in the WWE. But then Dragon Lee says something to her in Spanish. And he says it translates to that she's built for greatness. Or born for greatness. But I didn't hear the word greatness in his translation.
Me neither. I was wondering that because when I heard it, I tried to listen to him to like take notes on what he said and then translate it later. And then whatever he said, he said it so fast I couldn't write it down. But still, I remember that it was not anything what he said. So I'm like, the translation didn't seem accurate to me. I can't even tell you what he said exactly because I didn't, like I said, I didn't write it down. But it just didn't make sense to me the way he translated it to her. I thought it was funny, like that interaction, to begin with. And I love how she's like, no, we like need to get together. And she like kind of goes like this. I'm like, at least for us and like Spanish, especially like sign language, is kissing. And it's like great of you to like doing that. It's like, I definitely learned that.
He was not into that. He's like, no, I'm taking.
It's like I learned this is the only bit of sign language I remember, but it's just like when she goes to like that, it's like, oh, we need to like get together and like put our heads together. And he goes, oh no 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 no, you don't want to get in trouble. And I was like, I love that interaction from his like that miscommunication, which is something that totally would happen with them. And then having goes like, no, like I'm taken, like you don't want to get in trouble, no no no. And then she's like, no no, I mean like they're teaming up and we're teaming up, so it's better if we get to the same. He's like, I barely know anything from you. And like they have a back and forth about the sayings there. She says a saying from her for where she comes from, and then at the end she goes, "Oh, oh, oh! I got it! Equipo, equipo." He goes, "Ah, yes, equipo, we got it."
What
I
does
loved
Akipo
it though.
mean? I
Team,
wrote down the word Akipo, but does
yeah,
it
it
mean
just
team?
means team, to be a team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I loved it. It was cute.
Other than them talking about Dom's stupid face, I hated everything about this. Uh, to be honest, we've had 3 people speak in their own native language in 2 days with Nakamura. I prefer Nakamura's promo, where he didn't translate it, and all he said is, I want the title afterwards. By the way, if you've seen the translations for Nakamura's promo, it's fucking fantastic. There's somebody who translated it online, Doc Porosao, I think it was. I saw a translation. Absolutely killer promo. But again, that's not NXT.
So I'm gonna go next time. I'll be like, you and me, equipo. See, now you get it.
Yeah, sure. Keep up. We get Tyler Bate and Joe Coffey in the mall. Sure, I guess. This seemed like the most forced interaction of people outside the PC. This seemed more forced than Roxanne attacking Blair Davenport in the convenience store with all the cameras that just were conveniently there following Blair Davenport,
Yeah.
Roxanne Perez. But no, apparently this is something that happened earlier this week online that led. I really should follow NXT Anonymous, shouldn't I? So I can see these things, because if Asher doesn't send me these NXT Anonymous things, I never see them. They have a match, and the match is pretty shit, to be honest with you.
Anything really happens.
It went all of what, 4 minutes, 5
Probably
minutes, and then
does.
Dabba-Kato comes out and wrecks Tyler Bate, which was great. I enjoyed that part. I like seeing Dabba-Kato wreck Tyler Bate. But Joe
That's
Coffey gets out of
terrible.
there. What, you don't like that?
No thanks.
It was almost a half. No, it wasn't a half shoot. It was all work, and it was the worst worked promo I've ever seen in public. It was awful. If you want half shoot, go watch AEW Collision. I hear they have lots of half shoots, especially after the show goes off the air.
Yeah, I need a subscription for that one.
We then get Baron Corbin trying to leave outside, and he's asked about Von Wagner. He goes, "You know what? I may not like him, but at least Von Wagner had the guts to stand up to me. I was talking some trash, and Von Wagner stood up. So you know what? Good on him. Next week we're going to have a match, and I'll show him. But good on him for standing up." And Braun Breaker comes out and he goes, "So I hear you have a problem with Von." He's like, "I mean, he challenged me, so I got to do it." He's not even mad that he got called soft by Baron Corbin. It's like he didn't even listen to Corbin's promo. All he cares about is the guy he wrestled last week who put him through a table is wrestling somebody else. He's like, "Wait, I'm not wrestling him next week?" And I'm like,
He sounded jealous at that point.
he did. He sounded like a jealous ex-girlfriend. "Wait, you're going out with my boyfriend? Why am I not going out with my boyfriend next weekend? Why are you going out with my boyfriend?" It's just so weird.
Yeah.
Parish, no, bad Parish, no clipping. Bad Parish. I know what you're doing already, and stop.
Uh-oh.
Stop. Good Parish. Do you have any more thoughts on Baron Corbin outside the arena?
No, I like the before he leaves, he just tells Braun, is like, you intimidate everybody else in this building, but you're not intimidating me, and he just left as if was watching. That's what we're talking.
No clipping, Parish. Bad Parish.
Yeah.
No clips.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you talk about this because Nathan Frazier is one of your favorite people. So hard hitting truth / supernova sessions.
I don't even have words. Well, the only thing that I agree with him is about the heat wave here in Florida. Yeah, that's very true. Aside from that, I don't know what happened. I don't like the segments with him, but okay. He gets interrupted right away by not only Supernova Sessions but the metaphor. I like the button part though, because it just reminds me of my brother sent me the the
I
button
mean,
from.
yeah.
Yeah, it just makes me think of that too. So I seeing him with the button. It's like every time you say something, I'm gonna hit this button, and it's gonna like say the words on screen. And it's like I like how annoyed they got by just the button because it's a single button. That was it. But no, that's the only part that was fun. But yeah, aside from that, it's like the only accurate part was the heat wave part because I'm feeling it right now too.
Yeah, I thought this was a way, not a good way, but a way to build for the Heritage Cup match that we're getting next week.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, it's promo work being done by two dueling TV shows, both of which suck. Like the fraud button was about the best thing, and
Yeah.
it wasn't so much anything he said. It was anytime he told a lie, he was going to hit the button, and then it was every time Noam spoke, he was telling a
Yeah.
lie, so he kept getting the button. Um, it was fine. The
Yeah.
match will be good. The match will be fantastic. Who do you think wins that match, by the way?
I'm like I wanted to be Nathan, but is it gonna happen? I don't know.
I think it's going to be Noam.
Mm-hmm.
This is all
Yeah.
building to Noam winning that match and getting his cup back.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see next week. We
Your
then get
favorite part of the night?
Thea Hale versus JC Jane. I don't know where in my notes I missed this, but apparently I did miss this at some point.
Yeah, I know there was a backstage segment between her and Duke
Yeah,
and Andre.
but where? Because I have it in my notes, but I can't find it.
I had it. I think a commercial between and Dana and Blair's match during that commercial break when they were coming back.
Either way, Andre Chase had set up a match with Thea Hale versus JC Jane. Thea Hale's still incredibly angry. As I call her in my notes, she's a moody teen now who's upset with Daddy for throwing in the towel and grounding her. That's what it feels like. It's all it feels like. She's a moody teen going through her emo phase. Um, it was an alright match. It went longer than I thought it would.
Yeah.
I thought it would be a really quick match. Her gets the Kimura on, she wins, and she goes and gets in Andre's face, and that's it. But that's not how it went. It was a nice back and forth. She did get the Kimura on, but JC quickly got to the ropes. Damn it, Parrish. Damn it, Parrish. I'll have to go delete that later. Anyways, JC Jane goes ahead and takes the turnbuckle pad off the turnbuckle, and Andre Chase tries to get the turnbuckle pad on it, but it gets in the way of Tia Hale doing offensive maneuver, and Tia Hale gets all upset, and JC Jane kicks her with Mandy Rose's knee to the face for the 1-2. By the way, did anybody else catch Booker T on commentary talking about how JC Jane was the main attraction in Toxic Attraction?
It's like, and it was one of the most dominant factions in NXT, but doesn't name the faction.
He did not name the faction, and he said that JC Jane was the main attraction. And I'm like, since when? She was the third wheel as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's like I want to go Booker T about that part.
What did you think about this match, though? This is our only other women's match on the show.
Yeah.
Did it get enough time?
I feel like it was one of those that didn't need a lot of time either because it just Thea doesn't get a lot of time in her matches anyway. This was one of those that I thought it was funny because I knew JC has been losing, so it's ironic that she ended up getting the win over Thea this time around. But it's just like I feel like it's something that was needed as well, just to keep fueling that fight between Thea and Andre. Because from her aspect, she can say if it wasn't because you distracted me, I could have won that. And like basically she had it if it wasn't because of him. So it's like something that needed to happen to keep the storyline going. And I like how she keeps throwing jabs at him whenever she can. It's like, don't throw the towel this time, please. And just a little comments that she makes to him. But no, it had to be this way, the way it happened tonight.
Because I was going to say, like, we didn't get a lot of long women segments tonight, but it felt like everything that the women did tonight moved stories along. It told a story. It progressed storylines in the way it needed to. You didn't need an extra 5 minutes on each match. You didn't know. We're not putting up the clip. It's a clickable link in the Twitch chat. You can go find it in one of the Twitch chats. But no, I like the fact that while they didn't have a ton of time, and how if you measure how good the women were portrayed by the time the women got, NXT is going to do pretty poorly on this week's show. But I felt like they did a really good job in progressing everything that's women's stories. That it went ahead and you told the inevitable breakdown between Kalani and Dana Brooke. You had two segments, the match and the segment, continuing Andre Chase and Thea Hale being upset with Andre Chase about the match at the Great American Bash. We had the announcement that we'll hear in a couple minutes now. We'll just put it in here now. Tiffany has another quick promo where she says she'll be back next week. So we'll get Tiffany at Heatwave. Thank God she will bring the heat to Heatwave. But no, it was the women were treated well in the segments that they got. And not to mention Lyra being able to step up to essentially the Raw Women's Champion, but the Women's World Champion, the World Heavyweight Women's Champion, and Rhea Ripley. So, you've got good things going for the women, whether it be on this show, whether it be on next week's show. They're still getting what they deserve. They're still getting good treatment as far as what their storylines are, even if it's not the most time-intensive stuff. Do you agree with that kind of thing?
Yeah, because one thing that I like about this is like even when the matches aren't long, and they don't necessarily have to be long every single week, but we get a lot of storyline progressions. We get something that moves the storyline moving forward, and even whether it's in the match, in interview, any backstage segment, we still get something out of it. And even counting everything that happens tonight, you get so many women during the show that it's still more than Raw does, or even SmackDown for the ladies. So
yeah, because like we said, Ava and Ivy are critical parts of their storyline. But they're not in the matches as much, but they're critical parts of each of their teams. So they're important portions of the story. We have two non-championship feuds going on between Thea Hale and essentially Andre Chase, but putting Tia on television in matches is her stuff with Andre Chase. And we have Blair Davenport and everything she's doing, plus thrown into the Dana Brooke, Kalani Jordan storyline, which was mentor-mentee, which is going to turn into Dana Brooke is going to show Kalani in the ring about Killer Instinct. I guarantee that's the line we're going to hear. Well, you know what? You didn't understand it last week when I tried to steal the ring bell. But it's going to be me and you, and I'm going to prove to you and show you face to face what the Killer Instinct looks like.
Yeah.
But again, while they're not the most outstanding and excellent matches, it's women getting the chance to have non-championship feuds, and you still have Tiffany Stratton doing nothing, but she can be allowed to do nothing for a little bit when you have other women doing things on the show that are bringing in matches, bringing in segments. Not to mention, like I said, Rhea and Lyra Valkyria, which is an honest feud. There's so often we look at, well, the match was only 5 minutes, or tonight's matches if you do it. Well, the women, we had a 2-hour show and the women only had 10 minutes on in the ring. Well, yeah, but the women had a lot of storyline progression in those 10 minutes, in those 15 minutes that all the women had on screen tonight. You had incredible storyline progression. You're moving towards essentially 3 matches, because Tia's going to have whoever Tia's wrestling with. You have her key storyline that's a part of this brand, and it's integral to what they're doing right now. And so that's a positive sign for the future, is that you're teaching these people how to have feuds that don't revolve around a championship.
No.
And you can still have Tiffany Stratton come out next week and give her a number one contender, and it can be anybody. It can be Kiana James. It can be Gigi Dolan. It can be JC Jane. It can be Thea Hale one more time in a last woman standing match. It can be... Well, it can't be Cora Jade. She kind of walked away.
I think it'll build up to Blair Davenport because that's the one that's getting the most momentum out of anybody right now.
Yeah, and I think that's the match for No Mercy, and I think
No
that's where
Mercy. Mm-hmm.
and I think that's probably where Tiffany loses the championship. And then I think that's where you have Nikita Lyons make her return, and I think Nikita's the first real program going forward for Blair after she wins the championship. But again, we're moving things in the right direction, even if we're not giving a ton of matches. And I feel like sometimes it's not about the time you get in the ring. It's about what you do at that time, what stories you tell. And Sean's showing us that he can tell a compelling story with these women. Well, we don't like Dana Brooke. You agree. Like, you want to like Dana Brooke, but you don't. But this Kalani Jordan Dana Brooke thing is at least building to a match. It's going in that direction. We're getting there. And at the end of the day, isn't that what women want equality is having matches and having storylines that matter, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent.
And if you think about it from this aspect too, from the NXT standpoint, it's very rare when you don't see people like tonight not seeing Roxanne in any way, for example. It's rare not to see somebody's presence during the show somehow. That's the only difference, because at least on Raw, if you notice, compared to that, like I was kind of like comparing them, and you see like people like Indy Hartwell and Candice who were not on screen up until this week, and they hadn't been on screen in quite a while until last week and this week. And same thing with KC Square, we barely see them, and then now we see them on screen this week. So it's like if you compare them that way, even if let's say Raw's 3 hours and they have 2 5-minute matches or 2 10-minute matches and backstage stuff, you still don't see like not even half of the women they have on the roster right now. And that's something that I think NXT handles very well, because no matter how they're presented on screen, you see more than half of the roster in that 2-hour show.
Yeah, and the 6 women that we didn't mention tonight, at least in here, is the 6 women that I think you could have a 6-woman tag with, which is all of your tag teams. We saw Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson. Yeah. They're a bit player to the Heritage Cup feud. But Lash and Jakara versus Yulisa and Valentina. And thrown in that, Elektra and Lola. Like, there's 6 more women who aren't credible, like Chris Best says. You know, it was nice that I listed off all these credible challengers. And there are credible challengers to Tiffany Stratton. None of them make a bunch of sense. None of them really have earned the championship challenge. But just because of the fact of the way they're telling stories, any of them can have a title match and just go, okay. It's not like Indy Hartwell gets a title match and like, Indy's wrestling Rhea. I wonder how this is going to go. You know what I mean? Like, it was a fine match on Raw, but
and it's like another thing that I like about it too is like you said, listing of the people, you have possibilities. Like if you were to tell me next week that they have Blair and Tiffany, I believe it. I see it happening. Versus on Raw, there's nobody really to like not even build up or even mention to go against Rhea in the main roster. So that's when you see the difference between the rosters too. Nobody's given time to be like, I could see Candice or Indy going against Rhea, because you don't until it happens and it's announced on the show.
Yeah. In the Hot Seat podcast says Tiffany title contenders on Ed's Tiffy. No, it's Ed's Tiffy Talk. I should have my own little segment called Tiffy Talk. I just talk about Tiffany Stratton for 5 minutes. No, I'm just kidding. But again, on TikTok, no, I don't do the Tiffy Talk. I watch videos on the Tiffy Talk. I don't make content on TikTok. Chris Best, part of our Raw watch along. When Indy fought Rhea, I said I wanted to see this match because of what I saw Indy do in NXT. Yeah, I think people forget when Rhea got beat down last week, right before the main event, when Raquel came out there, so did Indy and Candice. But everybody forgets that Indy and Candice were part of that beatdown. And thanks, Raw, for not mentioning it during the entire show last night when you could have, because that would have been fun. Moving on from the women, because the women, unfortunately, are done for the night at this point, we have Los Lotharios, who liked women, but now are going to seem like focused on championships and defending their honor. And I loved how we got this, and I know Barry Monkey would have been disappointed because I thought it was going to be another text thing, but it wasn't. It was like these guys having dreams, and they're dreaming of what their grandfather would tell them. And he's talking about how when you lose, your cousin loses. And, you know, the greatness that you have is that when you win, you have family. And when you lose, you have family to hold you up. and how important the family lineage is between these two. And I'm like, finally, we're taking advantage of the fact that they're related as opposed to the fact that they're just hunky looking Latin dudes.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's all most Lotharios was, is look at their ripped bodies and how sexy they are and how they're going to hit on all the women. Like, they're talented in-ring competitors. And by the way, they're related. Like, Edge and Christian are not brothers, but you made a career out of those two being brothers. And these are literal cousins. You're like, I don't think we need to talk about it.
Nope. Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I feel like finally they have a backstory to them, and it's like one of those things. Like I said it last week, people forget that they're cousins until this happens, and I like the part of like when it says no more games or no more distractions, and when it says no more games, they show Angel with the rose as he used to do the segments before, and no more distractions with Umberto when he after kissing one of the girls when they used to do it too. I love seeing that part of like, we're getting rid of that. We're getting rid of this too. And it says tear away your past for a new beginning together. And I love having not only that, but like the grandpa doing the voiceover, the pictures between them, the family, them in the trampoline wrestling. Like I was like, this is what we needed before. Give us a backstory on them, make us care about them. And they're doing that right now with us. And I love seeing that family connection.
That trampoline wrestling thing hit me right here because I was one of those kids in the 90s and the 2000s who had a trampoline and all we did is have wrestling matches on it and we'd throw people around. My favorite story is it's not a good story. Most of my brother's friends were the ones who'd want to come over on the trampoline. Me and my brother are 21 months to the day apart. So we're close enough in age that we're not too far off, but I was older than all these other kids. And all of him and his friends decided they were going to have a battle royal. And they all decided they were going to team up on me. Because I was bigger, I was taller, I was chunkier. They're like, we're going to team up on you. And it was wintertime. And winter in New England is not like winter in Florida. We get lots of snow, we get lots of cold. So we're out there, for a half an hour shoveling to, a good foot of snow off the trampoline. And we're shoveling a nice little walkway so we can walk to the trampoline. And we go ahead and we have this battle royal. And I take one of his friends and I pick him up for a power bomb and I just power bomb him off the side because we've got all this wonderful fluffy snow. So I'm just going to power bomb him off into the snow. What I didn't know was that there was a small area of ice in the snow. And he went head first into the ice. And you just hear the ice crack. Thankfully, his head didn't crack. It was only his ice. No blood, no nothing. He was fine. He got back up. It's my favorite story of just power bombing this kid. 10, 11 years old. Just power bombing him off the side of the trampoline into this big, huge snowbank that had a little bit of ice in it. So seeing them wrestling on the trampoline and all that stuff, it hit me here because that's something I can recall and I can remember. In the Hot Seat Podcast is excited for a new look. I don't think you need to give them a new look. I just think you need to give them an attitude change. Like I said, I think it's really worked. Yeah, probably. But you know what? I was dangerous to work with, no training, and at 12 years old. Dana Brooke has had 8 years of training with the best trainers in the world. It still can't work safe. That being said, we move on. This is where we have the Tiffany Stratton segment. You know what? The PC has trained plenty of wonderful talent. So I'm going to say there's plenty of good training in the PC. Whether or not she's learned anything from said training doesn't take away from how good the trainers are. Robbie Brookside, Matt Bloom. There are some fantastic trainers in there. For the women, Fit Finley, Sarah Del Rey, and now Mika Satomura. Like, there's talented women in there training these women to be good wrestlers. There's no excuse. Norman Smiley, yes, Chris Best. Norman Smiley for the men. I don't think he has much to do with the women anymore, but yes, he does have some stuff to do with the men in there. For the main event segment, we have Wes Lee coming back and going ahead and throwing another hissy fit now that he's got his championship contract and he wants Melo to sign it. And Melo's like, look, dude, I don't care. I'll be there next week. Just fucking get away from me. I'm done. Like, I just signed all these things. I don't want to sign anymore. And Wesley's like, no, and he wipes the whole table off and he kicks out the leg and the table falls down and Melo's like, oh boy, you pushed me too far now. Look at all this. he's like telling the guys to get back as the guys like barely take a step forward. And I was like, nope, nope, I'll handle him. And he just grabs the side of the table, just drags it away. Oh, Wes Lee, I love you, man. He's so annoyingly antagonistic, and it's great because it just makes me want to like. I don't. It's not like Dominic where I want to punch him and hurt him. I just want to slap Wes and be like, "What the fuck are you doing, dude?" But he gets in the ring. Carmelo Hayes comes down. They have the contract signing. Astrid, talk to us about this promo from Wes Lee.
Uh, as I was saying, like we were off screen, this promo was fire. Like this was his best promo so far. Like at first I was getting ready, so I didn't understand why was I not hear his music. He's coming down to the ring. I kept thinking, wait, the match just happened. Why is he coming out again? And then I like how he's just storming in here with that contract. And I love the way he just pours, himself to the audience. It's like, and even just in particular to Carmelo there. Um, and just because though I like the way that they compare each other because he looks at him, he's like, yeah, you're one of the chosen ones since you got here. Like I had to fight here not only when when I started in the military and they found out I was doing this, they looked at me as like kind of like laughing at me because they didn't think I could do this. And he's like, and then I get here, man, I'm a tag team guy. I win the titles twice with my partner, and then my partner's off. I was like, don't remind me, was, but okay, let's keep moving on from this. And then he mentions taking the North American Championship and putting it to a certain level in the way it is right now. And he's like, I heard a lot of you can't this and you can't that. And he's like, I've turned those those doubters into believers, but those you can'ts have resonated with me, and I want to throw them out there. So it's like he's like, all I heard was people doubting me from the get-go. And it's just like I could feel that. I could feel that passion from him in this promo, and I love this so much. It's like I could feel the fire and how he was speaking so much truth to himself, but to the audience as well. And I was like, this was incredible. I like the back and forth they had, but I feel like Carmelo didn't really have to say anything because I feel like this was his moment more than anything. And I like how Carmelo goes, it's a contract signing. I was a champion. I have perks and they come with responsibility. But I like the back and forth they have with each other. It's like, you came here and you were already picked as one of the people. Like I had to build myself up with my partner at first, and then my partner was gone. So I kind of built myself up as a solo. So it's like, as a singles competitor, it was not easy, but I turned people into believers and look where I'm at now. And I like how he just signs his like sand the time contract and he just slides it over to him. I was like, well done. I loved it, Wes.
And while Melo didn't have to do a lot, what he
No.
does do, he does top notch. Because he looks at Wes and he's like, I get it, dude. Like, I feel for you and I'm so proud of you and all the stuff you did. He's like, but remember, when you talk about, because Wes Lee starts to talk about how he won the North American title. Well, who did he win the title off of? Technically, Carmelo Hayes. He's like, I won it from you. He's like, don't you start that. You may have won the title off of me, but you didn't beat me. And he looks and he goes, next week at Heatwave, you can't beat me. And then he's like, Melo doesn't miss. But next week, it's not Melo doesn't miss. It's Melo can't miss. And it's like, oh, they're setting us all up to think Wes Lee's going to win this. And it is going to be the hero's story when Wes Lee gets his ass beaten down by Carmelo Hayes next week. Like, Wes is not winning this match.
No, but I like how even with the promo, they make me believe like he is.
Oh, I agree. The promo
Yeah.
does the promo does exactly what it needs to do
Mhm.
because it's building up for the next step.
Mhm.
Because this is going to be the fork in the road for Wes. Because he's going to go up against the best and he's going to get beat. And he's going to get beat pretty hard. I don't think it's not going to be a squash, but I don't think this thing goes more than 10 minutes. I think this is a pretty decisive win for Melo, I think. And it's going to be that moment where Wes has to find it in himself to do it again and to get himself back there. And maybe he ends up taking the title off Melo at No Mercy or later on down the line. But I'm super excited to see Wes Lee in this match. I'm super excited for this match. If they choose to take the title off Melo, they've done everything they need to do. Because this is the greatest underdog story they've told in NXT in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't count the Tiffany Stratton versus Tia Hale because she wasn't going to win. She was never going to win.
Yeah.
But no, Wes has a small shot at winning this. And it all depends on what they want to do with Melo going forward. That's the thing. What do they want to do with Melo going forward? Because they have a Sportskeeda thing where Sportskeeda puts, who do you want in the Hurt Business 2.0? And they have a picture of Carmelo Hayes, and Hayes tweets it back, and he goes, "Where's Ron Breakker?" But no, it was just fantastic. Just absolutely killed it on this. The both of them did. Wes Lee's promo. Oh God, the you can't. There's something great about a babyface who talks about the you can'ts. You can't do this. You won't do that. You'll never do this. There's so much easiness about just telling a story based solely on that and letting that be all you need. And Carmelo Hayes just being the champion and being like, look, I like you, kid. You're good, but you ain't me. And come next week, you ain't beating me. It's just fantastic. But speaking of next week, this is what the rest of we have up the rest of this week on our local establishment. That's what you can see this week on our local establishment. Remember that already this week, we've already had the Raw Watch Long, which you can go ahead and watch back. You can also go ahead and watch Turnbuckle Talk, like I said earlier, with our friend Chris Best, who was on there with Carl Carafel today. You can go ahead and do that. We are getting ready to get out of here. But Astrid, where can the good people find you this week?
Oh gosh. Hopefully doing Ladies President Showcase on Friday. So more details on that if we decide moving forward with it. And hopefully, I'm hoping it happens. We'll do a little watch along my Twitch and YouTube for Multiverse that's happening on Sunday. That will be Mel and Cody and Andre, myself, all four of us together again. Hopefully we'll work it out. We'll see what happens. But if we'll keep you updated on those socials if we do. You can find me on Twitter. Yes, I'm still saying Twitter. And Blue Sky as Astrid Pizarro. Instagram and Threads Astrid Pizarro 20. And you can go back on my YouTube channel. I just released a vlog. I'm doing a little vlog series, so I just released that one. And hopefully we'll be releasing the next one on Sunday as well. A little behind the scenes of like I do a lot of reading and my writing, so things like that you'll see there now moving forward. There you go.
You can find me on the X at EdFries12584. I don't need no blue skies. I like my gray skies. We had rain all day today. You know what? It beats having all that heat that Astrid has down there, that heat wave in Florida. I got a nice shirt. I don't need no threads. You can catch me on the Twitch at EdFries2002. I've got gaming content hopefully coming up this week. I keep saying that, and one of these days I'll actually have it. You can go ahead and catch me tomorrow night as me and Parrish duke it out one more time in weeks 6, 7, 8, and 9 as we go ahead and build to our next premium live event on Wrestle Draft. And keep your eyes peeled to Busting Out because in the near future, there might just be an announcement. Who knows?
Dun, dun, dun. Wait, we have to use the breaking news one if you're gonna say that.
We don't have any announcements yet. You can remember
know,
to
but
catch
just
our
warning.
local establishment at all these wonderful places. You can catch us on TikTok, on Kick, on Twitch, on YouTube. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube. Leave a comment on these videos and go ahead and give it a like, even if you've already seen it, to go ahead and tell us that we're doing a good job or things that you want to see us do better. If you want to go ahead and get in touch with us and see about opportunities and about having us on your shows or you guys on our shows, go ahead and email olepodcast@gmail.com for all kinds of stuff like that. We are going to go ahead and raid out to. Hold on. Parrish is a bad dad. He's got to prepare his dad jokes. Why does 6 hate 7? Because 7 8 9.
I'm going to be reading Leva, so just
all right. So we're going to go ahead and raid on Astrid's channel. We're going to go ahead and read Leva Bates. I think Parrish is going to be taking care of that on our local establishment side. So everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Have a great day, and we will see you next week for the Heatwave. Until then, goodbye.